All right, so this is module 4. We have completed till module 3 on the last class, and this module 4 is more focused on core risk management. As I was speaking yesterday, that we completed governance part and also we completed basics of risk management. In this module, we are going to focus on core risk management, and this is going to be very deep and very insightful. So, what we are going to discuss after this class, you should be able to identify and document assets, threats, and vulnerabilities. That means you will be knowing what are the assets belongs to that particular company and what kind of threats are there for these assets and what are the weakness means vulnerabilities. Then we will map threat, asset, and vulnerability, these three, because that is how the risk is calculated. Then we'll also have a classification of assets. We'll have a impact analysis, very important. Then we'll talk about some metrics like uh, RTO, RPO, maximum allowed time, downtime, all these things we're going to talk. We'll also talk about some real life risk identification scenarios. So this class is going to be really deep in risk management. And whenever you feel there is something which you can't understand, please ask me. Okay. So risk identification is the first topic. Risk identification is a structured process where we discover what can go wrong. If I take example of simple car driving on the road, as we were taking the same example yesterday. So driving car is risky, but what can go wrong? Maybe your car can get broken, maybe engine fails, maybe you get accident, you dash somebody or somebody dashes you. Even it is as dangerous as people can die, right? So you have to identify what can go wrong. This is the thing where you might get accident, you might get a car broken, you might even die. These are the things can go wrong. Where it can go wrong, right? Next question is where it can go wrong. Then it will go wrong when you are driving on the road. How it can happen? It can happen when you drive very fast in uncontrolled speed wearing seat belt. Your car is not strong enough or it is not properly safely rated car. So these things can, this is how it can happen. What the impact could be? You might get hurt, you might get injured, you might get die. So these are the things people can, get impacted. So these are questions we have to ask even for any cyber risk. Here we are going to more focus on cyber risk management. So what can go wrong? Maybe some attackers might be able to compromise your system. That can go wrong. Where it can go wrong? Maybe your database server where you are storing all your users' data might be hacked. How it can happen? Attackers might be able to compromise the server. What the impact could be? Attackers might be able to steal the data which was stored on the database server. So these are the questions we have to ask. Okay. Now let's talk about categories of assets. So this is again, I yesterday I told you we have to categorize the system, right? If we do not know which systems are more critical, which systems are not critical, it won't be feasible to prioritize the risk management, right? So let's talk about how to categorize the assets. Now you see here on the right side on the pictures, everything what you see is an asset. It's an human resource asset. It's a server asset, right? It's a EC, computer asset. Now you see here, this is a data asset. Like this is a data which is confidential. This is also data asset. So now let's talk about asset types in detail. So people, they are the most important asset. Always you have to save people. When you go for certifications like CISM, CISSP, there would be always a question about human resource. They will always try to understand if there is a data center which can burn or which can destroyed by natural calamities. On the other side, there is a human who can get injured or who can die. Which one would you save? Even if data center is worth $1,000 or $1,000,000, you will still be saving that particular human resource. So human resource is the most valuable resource in entire information security chain. You have to save human resource first, then you can go to save the machines. So keep always in this in your mind that we have to first and foremost save human resources. Then we can go for technology like servers, firewalls, endpoints. Why these are important? Because they are going to be the operational backbone. Based on them only, you are operating your business. Then the information. Now we are talking about data, PII, personally identifiable information. So this is some information where personal information about people. Financial records, IP, intellectual property, means if you have any patent, you have any copyrights, you have something which you have created by your own, maybe your secret recipe. Like people take example of Coca-Cola. They have more than 100 years old secret recipe, which they are maintaining confidentially. They are not sharing with anyone. Even their CEO, their top executives are not aware what are the ingredients of that secret recipe. And only handful of people have access to that vault. And whenever they need to make another solution, they will go combined, not a single person. They will go like 3 to 4 person. All will have partial key and they will access the vault and they will see what is the ratio and what are the ingredients, and they are going to utilize that particular moment to create another log of Coca-Cola. But they always keep that information secret. If that information is out, any other company can create a duplicate of Coca-Cola. You have other brands like PepsiCo, you have Campa Cola, you have many other brands, but none of those would be exactly same. They all will have their own recipes, right? So that's how you have to protect your information asset. Then next is premises. So of course, your office, your data centers, your security centers, your CCTV camera center, anything where your business is operating is valuable. Okay, so you have to secure your premises. Reputation is another big important asset because the business relies on your brand value. If you cannot maintain your brand value, it's very feasible that your business may shut down in some time. There have been some banks, there have been some big businesses which got shut down just because of some major cyber breach attacks. Okay, so reputation is another big asset. So you have to make sure that you have goodwill, you have good brand value, so that your customers can trust you and you can survive for long. Okay. So now let's take one example. A SOC analyst's laptop with privileged access is more critical than a generic office PC. Why? Any idea?
Because the soccer analysts have privileged access like to access databases, maybe logs, to check the logs.
Yes, yes. So basically, when let's take example of physical security. Somebody security, they can basically reach out anywhere in the premise because that head of security will have access to almost everything. Similarly, a SOC analyst's laptop will have privileged access to multiple devices in the organization, maybe the firewall, maybe the SIEM tool, maybe the EDR, maybe other technologies, right? So if you can get access to these devices, you can access the logs, you can change the rules, you can allow somebody from outside to come inside, and that's how you can basically enhance the attack surface. You can give more weapon to the attacker. That's how you have to understand which assets are more critical to maintain. Now let's talk about threat categories. Okay, we spoke about asset types. This is asset. Now this is threat. So anything, threat means anything which can make harm, which can cause harm. Cyber threat. Cyber threats are those threats which can harm your systems online. Okay, this could be offline also, but those would be using digital methods only. We don't, I mean, like physical threats are different threats. Cyber threats are different threats. Okay, physical threats mean somebody can come inside, skip your security guard, and steal your computer system. That's a physical threat. But if somebody can hack your systems, they can get online to your machines and steal data, that's a cyber threat. That's the difference. So cyber threats examples are like ransomware attack, phishing attack, DDoS attack, or any kind of cross-site scripting attacks, man in the middle attacks. There are multiple attack types. You might have already gone through in the fundamentals of GRC essentials, right? Attack types. So those all attack types are going to be cyber threats. Insider threats. These insider threats are very dangerous. They are your own employee. Why they are dangerous? Because they will have privileged access. If somebody is trying to attack your system from outside, they might get on your machine, but they may not have privileged access. If they don't have privileged access, they won't be able to access any data, right? But if your insider person is involved in cyber attack, that's going to be very dangerous because they will have very easy access to a lot of data within your organization. So they can make data theft, they can make sabotage of system. Okay, sabotage means they can capture the system, capture the information, and they can seize it. Then the human error. Human error is also very common type because multiple times people make mistakes. Okay, they do not have ill intentions. They don't want to harm your system, but they make mistakes. For example, you received one email, and that email was having a phishing link. You don't want your company to be attacked, but still you click it because of curiosity. You don't have uh, you are not aware what can go wrong, but you click on that. That's by mistake. So these kind of things are considered as human error, and we call it misconfiguration or accidental deletion. Maybe somebody delete the data by mistake, but the thing is you lost the information. So that is the result of this kind of attacks. Now let's talk about physical. Okay, physical threats are those threats which can harm your premises, your assets physically, like fire, flood. They can burn your system, they can burn your people, they can burn your assets, any kind of assets. Flood is having the same kind of impact. Then it comes technical or operational. We call it technical or operational as well. Now, hardware failures, software failures, any kind of failures would be called as technical threats or operational threats. Then comes third party. So these are very important, third party, because we have recently seen a lot of compromises. CrowdStrike was one of the big example. This company was attacked and using a third party channel. What happens if you are organization, you are a company, and you are using a software developed by some other company, because you don't manage their security, so you don't know what kind of loopholes they might have kept in their software. You are just relying on their brand value. Like we are using MS Office from Microsoft. We do not know what kind of vulnerabilities are there in the Microsoft Office, what kind of issues might be there which might harm our assets. So these kind of uh, threats are related to third party supply chain attack. Okay, so these comes from the vendor side. Then after assets, we discussed about threats. Now let's discuss about vulnerabilities. So vulnerabilities are the weakness. Now if you look at the picture, like usually, we just set the password very simple to remember. We don't want to remember a very complex password. So these password can be guessed by anybody, or it can be simply cracked by systems within seconds. We have some systems in place. If you just feed some information to those systems, and if you perform brute force, like brute force is the name of the attack, which is basically using all possible combinations. It will first use one, then two, three, four, five, six, eight, nine. After nine, it will use 10, 11, 12. Like this, it will use all possible combinations, and within few seconds, it will crack your password if it is very easy to guess. Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, QWERTY. There is another kind of attack which called you know rainbow table. This kind of attacks are for the well-known phrases. If you use any particular words, sentences, which might be frequently used in password, these all are stored in a rainbow table, and they will be able to crack within few seconds, because we have very high computing resources now. So it's very easy to crack these kind of password. This is one type of vulnerability. It can be easily exploited. Another vulnerability is, you see here, physical vulnerability. Rack is open from all the sides. Anybody can come and plug in their systems in your rack. That's another vulnerability. So vulnerability is nothing but the weakness in your system which can be exploited. Okay, so these are the system hack information, like technical and process. These two types here. So technical means you got some software which got some issues. Maybe it has some backdoor. Somebody is able to get inside without you notice it. This is called this is kind of vulnerabilities may be found in a old operating system which is not upgraded to the latest security patch. So we call it unpatched OS. Then there may be some vulnerabilities related to process, like no change management process. Okay, if you do not have a change management process, this is going to be very, very serious. Why? Because change management process will make sure that you make changes to your system every time after approvals only, and you are recording each and every change. So if somebody is making changes without proper impact analysis, you will be able to catch it. If you do not have change management process, you are not sure who has made what kind of changes to your system, and then you will be failing at some point of time. Then the people, like lack of training, then physical, no CCTV monitoring. These are the vulnerabilities. People vulnerability, lack of training, lack of awareness. They might be clicking on the links which are received in the email. Those could be phishing emails, and when you click it, you are inviting attackers to come inside and attack your systems. Physical vulnerability means there could be no CCTV monitoring, there won't be any uh, lack of biometric, lack of 8 feet tall fencing. So, because there are some standards set by some organizations, they ask to create at least 8 feet tall fencing around your premise. So nobody should be able to climb on it. And also, there is a direction where you should avoid any trees near to your fence. So there should not be somebody who is climbing on the tree and then you should have CCTV cameras so you can capture somebody. You can have watch dogs as well. There are some premises which are being tracked by watchdog. There are well-trained dogs who would be always keeping the physical security of your premise. It is more used in defense related premises where they don't want to take any chances. Maybe you can compromise a human. Okay, maybe you can compromise CCTV camera for a moment, but compromising a well-trained dog is not feasible. Even you might have seen that dog squads should be coming to detect the bombing as well, right? If there is a bomb or any explosive items which cannot be detected by metal detectors or something, dogs are able to find it. So anyway, if you can safeguard your premise, those physically, those would be called as physical, vulnerabilities. If you are not able to maintain that. Now let's talk about relationship between threat, vulnerability, and asset. Okay, so threat is like credential stuffing attack. This is kind of an attack. Vulnerability is no multi-factor authentication, means you do not have second factor authentication or third factor authentication. Asset is CRM server. This is an example, right? Risk event is customer data breach. So what is happening here? Somebody is trying to steal your credentials by using credential stuffing attack, and because you do not have multi-factor authentication, your CRM server would be hacked and your data would be breached, so customer data would be stolen, right? Now let's talk about asset classification. What we do under asset classification. Hmm. Classification we perform based on confidentiality. Confidentiality is the first requirement. You have to see if data is very, very sensitive and confidential. That particular data would be classified as high severe, right? High class. Then you want to also understand the integrity, means there is some data which you don't want to get changed accidentally or by attackers. So that is the integrity. So if you have already heard about this triangle, which is CIA, C for confidentiality, I for integrity. E for availability. So information security is all about maintaining CIA. We always want our confidential data to be always accessed by authorized person. No unauthorized person should be able to access the data. That is how we encrypt the data and we share the keys only with authorized people. Second requirement is integrity. Integrity means if the data is written in some form and approved and saved, that data should not be changed. It should always be correct data. That is called integrity, the correctness of the data. The third one is availability. That means your data should always be available for your users to access. Okay. So if they need now, they should be able to access now. If they need it after 10 days, they should be able to access after 10 days and all the time. So we have a big, heavy reliance of these three items, confidentiality, integrity, and availability in asset classification. So these are the three factors heavily analyzed when we are doing the classification. Then next is regular regulatory requirement. This is also important where you might be handling some data which is complying to some rules and regulations, maybe like GDPR. You are having data for any European country, and then in that case you have to follow GDPR. So if GDPR says that this data should be encrypted, then you will have to follow their guidelines. You will always have to keep it encrypted only. Then the next one is business criticality. So this is also important because you have to make sure that any data which is critical for your business should always be in its correct form, right? So let's talk about the some examples here. High, medium, low. These are the classification. Now let's see the this is the impact field. High means severe operational impact. If somebody is able to breach high classified data, there would be a severe operational impact. Maybe your systems would be down, your users won't be able to access the system. If you take example of Amazon retail business, if you are not able to make your order, that's a big impact on their systems. And the examples could be financial database. If you are a banking system, if you are not able to access your financial database, that's going to be a big problem. Then let's take example of medium level. Medium level could be like limited disruption. It's not complete outage, it's not complete disruption, but limited up to some extent. Like HR system. If your HR systems are not available, it's fine because the only thing you might lose is you're not able to see your leave which you have already taken. Maybe you are not able to apply for the leave, or you are not able to request for your experience certificate or something like that. So HR systems are critical, but not that critical like your financial database. Then the low, like public brochures. You have some flyers, you have some information publicly hosted on a website, which is available publicly. You are not maintaining any confidentiality. If that goes down also, it's okay because people might already be having a copy of that information. So that's called low. So this is how we maintain the classifications. There are levels like low, medium, and high. Then now next thing is talking about business impact analysis. Before I move on, I would like to ask you guys, is there any questions till now?
No, sir.
Jay
No,
and Sudhir?
no, no,
No.
No questions. Okay, perfect. Because these are very important topics, so I'm going very slow and I'll keep taking examples also. Business processes to technical dependencies. So BIA is basically a connection between business processes to technical dependencies. Now, BIA talks about business as well as BIA talks about technical things. How business can be always running smoothly without being operational impact. Okay, so let's talk about what is the BIA. What we do in BIA, that is more important. Okay, so under BIA, classifying the data assets. Now we are classifying the business processes. Which are the business processes which are very critical? Business processes means maybe if you are taking example of Amazon, there would be very variety of business process. One business process is about taking and accepting the orders. Another process is processing the orders. Okay, maybe they will confirm the orders. Next process would be maintaining the inventory, like these products are still available. These products are sold out. So how you will maintain the inventory? That is also very, very important process. Other one could be shipping the orders, another business process, right? Then then managing the returns. Maybe somebody would not like your product and they will return them. So that is also very, very important business process. So you have to identify what are your critical business processes. Then you have to identify if any of those business processes uh, get broken, what is the impact? Then you have to also identify downtime tolerance. Okay, so how much downtime your business can tolerate without having a big loss. Recovery priorities. So again, like we were discussing about priorities in risk management, in business also, in business impact analysis, we are going to discuss what are our recovery priorities. How soon we want to recover your ordering process. See, if your shipping process is impacted and your ordering process is impacted, which one you want to make the process up again? Which one you want first to come again? Shipping process is broken and ordering process is broken. Which process you want to come live very soon? Any idea?
Shipping one,
So
shipping one and another one.
basically, it's the ordering process where users are placing the orders.
Okay, then a water one should be the first. You have to-
Exactly. You don't want to lose the business, right? See, even if your shipping is delayed by one day, it is fine. You can apologize to your customer saying that your shipping was delayed by one day. And but you don't want them to see for. So this is how you have to prioritize your recoveries.
Sorry, Sanjay, your
Okay.
voice is dropped out like little bit. Sanjay,
Is it uh,
now
is
it's
it
clear.
still not good?
No, now it's clear.
Yeah, right
Yes.
now, okay.
Clear. Okay, okay, perfect. So I was talking about prioritizing the recovery. Okay, so you have to identify which business process is important for you. So I take two examples. One is order, other one is shipping. So if you ask me, I will give order process first priority, shipping process second priority, because if shipping is delayed, it is fine. You people will not really mind if it is delayed by one day. But if they are not able to place the order itself, they will not trust your system. That is why there is always a priority order. If something is broken, which particular process you want to bring up before than the other one, right? That's what we decide here. Now, these are the components. You can say these are the metrics. We will talk in detail while we are discussing core risk management concepts like critical process. Critical process means those processes which are bringing revenue, which are bringing business to your company, core revenue activities. Those would be the critical process. Ordering process is more critical than the shipping process because when people place order, they are bringing revenue to you. Shipping is not bringing revenue to you. That is just supporting the ordering process, right? So that's how you can maintain the list of critical processes. Next one is dependency. Now you will have to see how you are processing these particular processes, core revenue activities, how you are maintaining it. So you will have some dependencies like you have to have IT systems in place, like servers, applications, correct? Vendors, people. Vendors means shipping vendor. People is obviously a human resource. So to maintain this, obviously every company will not have their own resources to maintain the logistics. They would not be shipping themselves. You will not receive your Amazon parcel from Amazon employee, right? This is going to be another company who would be maintaining the courier service, parcel service. Then you will have your own people who are maintaining your customer service, system. So that's called dependency. These are the critical process where you want to maintain your systems. Then next metric is maximum tolerable downtime. Okay. So you have to remember these terms, but I think when you use these terms more often, you will be um, easily understanding this. Maximum tolerable downtime, as it mentioned, this is the downtime where your company will not have big losses. Okay, so this particular value would be different for different companies. Maybe if I have a company who is having product manufacturing, okay, we are manufacturing some agriculture products, and for me, maximum tolerable downtime could be 7 days, because if I do not produce anything for 7 days, it is okay because I might be having a big inventory, or maybe when I take the order, the expectation from customer is I will deliver that order within 1 month. But if I am part of some gift shipping company, maybe Fawns and Petals or GIP or any such kind of companies where timeline is the key, where I have to deliver things on people's birthdays, their anniversaries, New Year, or any event. In that case, my maximum tolerable downtime could be just in few hours, maybe like couple of hours. You allow people to order before 10 p.m. and you are able to deliver those orders by 12 a.m. in the night. So within 2 hours, you are delivering the orders. In that case, your maximum tolerable downtime would be 2 hours only. That's how you decide. Okay, so it depends on your business. Then we have recovery time objective. So there are two related terms. Okay, just keep these two in mind. Recovery time objective and recovery point objective. So recovery time objective is how soon you can recover from a broken activity, maybe from a failed system, how soon you can recover. This could be like 1 hour. Recovery point objective is how much data you can lose. This could be maybe 15 minutes of data you might lose. So recovery point objective is always very strict and less in time. You may not lose hours and hours of data. Definitely will be in some minutes only. But again, it depends on your business. If you are in a very critical business where you need data to be maintained, you are capturing financial data and all, then recovery point objective could be in just few minutes. So remember these terms. Maximum tolerable downtime is how much downtime your company can withhold without losing the business. Recovery time objective is how much time you are going to take to recover from a failed activity. Recovery point objective is how much data you can lose. Okay. Then the impact. Impact could be financial, legal, reputational, anything, right? Any questions?
No.
Okay, so you see here the same example they have given. Only thing is I was taking 1 hour and 15 minutes. Here the example is given 2 hours. So recovery time objective could be 2 hours. Recovery point objective could be 15 minutes. Data loss is something where you cannot really lose more data. You can have more downtime, but you cannot lose the data. Now there is another example given for the healthcare system. Let's talk about this. Okay. And let me, are you able to see this or should I maximize?
Max.
Okay, perfect. I'll do that. Is it visible now?
Yeah, now
Yes,
it's
sir.
Okay, perfect. So this is basically a patient record database where you have these cases like patient number one, patient number two, patient number three and four. Then you have the names, you have the first name, middle name, last name, you have gender, age, contact number, data added actions like edit and view. Correct. This is the one database which we are talking about. This is their MRI machine, right? These are some of their other systems. Now let's talk about what kind of process they have. Okay. They have patient records, they have MRI scheduling, they have billing, they have cafeteria app. These are the functions, these are the processes they are supporting. Impact of patient record is basically very important. If you do not maintain patient record, your nurses will not come to know which kind of medicine they should be giving to the patient. And if some patient do not receive proper medicine on time, they might be having a life threat, right? So recovery time objective here is 1 hour, means within 1 hour you should be recover your database. You should be able to maintain the database and recover it within 1 hour. Recovery point objective is 5 minutes, means 5 minutes data you can lose. Maybe doctor has prescribed some some medicines, and somehow you lost the data. You can ask doctor again within 5 minutes. Doctor would remember that, okay, just 5 minutes back only I prescribed. Let me write it again. He will write it. Priority is one, right? MRI scheduling. So obviously, if you are not able to uh, maintain MRI scheduling, your treatment would be delayed. But again, MRI scheduling is not that critical because you can take help from your backup facilities, maybe from another center or maybe from a different business. You might get your MRI scheduling done. So recovery time objective is 4 hours here. Recovery point objective is 1 hour. So within 1 hour, if your data is lost, you might do the MRI again. Okay. So the priority comes to here. Billing. Billing is a revenue loss, but again, it does not have a life threat, right? Life risk is the always first priority. So here recovery time objective is 12 hours and your recovery point objective is 24 hours. If you are losing your billing record, you can basically, uh, but I tell you, this value should be here. This value should be here. Okay. So recovery point objective is always less than the recovery time objective. Keep in mind, these values should be vice versa. Okay. So this should be 24 hours. This should be 12 hours. Understand? Why this should be like that? Any idea?
To like prevent too much data, like any loss to the company, like maybe data or anything. Because
Yeah.
beyond that time we can recover that data, or like it
Yes.
will be
So
further.
yeah. So basically, downtime is still okay, but losing data is more critical. Okay. So that is why you will see all these numbers. They are greater than this number. Correct? The reason is recovery time objective is basically downtime. Recovery point objective is data loss. So data loss is more critical. We don't want to make longer data loss. Otherwise, you will lose your business. You will lose life. Okay. So now talk about cafeteria app. They have some cafeteria in the hospital. If that is running okay, if that is not running also okay, right? Patient, you can get food from outside, or patients attendants, their families might be getting food from their home. So it's not going to be that critical. It doesn't have life risk. It has a minor impact. You will have a experience impact. People will think like, okay, your cafeteria is not working, this hospital is not good, other hospital we have very good cafeteria. Only those things might be having impact. But if you have good doctors, if you have good treatment, cafeteria is not going to make big impact. That is why the RTO is 1 week and the RPO is 72 hours. And this can change according to your business priorities. If you prioritize cafeteria, you can make this less. Then in that case, you will have to spend more. See, everybody want to keep RTO and RPO up to a minimum count, minimum numbers. But the more you make it minimum, the more money you are spending to maintain it. That is why you have to find a balance, which is feasible for your business. You have to keep that and you have to maintain it. All right. So next one is, let's take another example. How will you maintain the metrics about impact? So if the impact is catastrophic, you might be getting financial losses like 50 crore plus loss. The impact score is 5. If your impact is negligible, means very low, like this, you will have losses less than 5 lakhs and the score is 1. But this value shown here is not standard value. I mean, this will change according to the business. For one business, maybe loss which is less than 5 lakhs is coming as moderate. For other business, it might be minor. For other business, it could be negligible. So it depends on the size of the business, of course, because if your entire turnover is 10 lakhs, then 5 lakhs cannot be negligible for you. If your entire turnover is 1,000 crores, then even 50 crore may not be catastrophic for you. But this is just relational metrics. Okay, so 5 lakhs versus 50 crore. That is how negligible versus catastrophic severity will happen. All right, so let's have another case study. This is about financial small and medium enterprise financial business, and they have 200 employees, and they have some on-premise system. See, just make a note of these details. 200 employees, on-premise servers, and they have some email which is on the cloud. They do not have formal GRC tool. That means they don't have GRC processes in place. And there is an incident which happens. An incident is about phishing attack. Okay, so you just see this. This is the incident. Phishing attack compromising payroll admin account. So root cause could be because they do not have multi-factor authentication, no MFA. So only user ID and password, no security awareness training, weak password policy, right? So these are the root causes. These are the weaknesses in the system. Impact is 20 lakh financial loss. Audit finding raised means if you get in some scams, some losses, definitely there would be one audit coming from your management or from your external regulatory compliance. Client confidence dropped. Obviously, if you get into these kind of issues, you might have heard about HDFC recent losses, right? Their stocks have been down. The reason is one of their director has resigned, and they told that they are not happy. That person is not happy with the practices being followed within HDFC. This single statement made a lot of losses to the HDFC bank. This is how client confidence will be dropping in you. So you have to make sure that you are always on your toes to maintain your brand value. Now let's talk about how we can prevent it. You can have in multi-factor authentication, phishing simulations. So you should have a trainings and simulations. Privileged access management. So you can have role back role based access control. What means you can HR system or admin system to only people who are in that department. No other person from other department should have that kind of access. So you should have a privileged access management turned into rollback access management. Okay, so this is what we wanted to cover today. The next session would be more about risk analysis and prioritization, and that we will take it up tomorrow. So any questions before I bind up today?
No, this, right.